Hello, Здравствуйте, and welcome. This is Billy Bigham with the Russian American Business and Culture Council, and today I'm joined by Duncan Curd. Duncan is a global business development leader at Dry Steam, which is headquartered in Minnesota. Prior to Dry Steam, Curd filled a variety of roles with global companies including Simons, Carlo Gavazzi, Nortec, and Grip Idle Management Systems. Duncan, thanks for joining me.
Pleasure.
So Duncan, I'm just wondering, what does Dry Steam do, and could you also give us a little background on what your current role is?
Certainly, Billy. Dry Steam is a member of the Research Products Group. Dry Steam themselves are based in Eden Prairie, and we've been in business for about 60 years. Research Products, as our parent company, are headquartered out of Madison, Wisconsin. Some of your listeners may be familiar with the brand April Air. This is the residential home comfort products side of the business, which we are indirectly related to. We also have another sister company, Anden Corporation, and they specialize in the controlled environments, agricultural, and that might also be considered to be the cannabis business as the main focus. That is providing control for controlled environments, agricultural. Dry Steam not only engineers, but also manufactures all of its equipment in the Minnesota facility in Eden Prairie. And of course, we then market, sell through not only our offices in the U.S., but also internationally. Our business model in the U.S. is to work primarily with HVAC, or heating, ventilation, and air conditioning agents or distributors who work very closely with engineers and contractors to provide solutions to customers in a very broad range of fields. Some of the examples or some of the applications that are commonly utilizing humidification equipment would be hospitals, schools, universities, large commercial buildings, museums, art galleries, and then in addition to human health and comfort related to humidification, we also need to maintain precise process conditions in different industrial manufacturing situations. For example, in printing, where with water-based ink, the right humidity level is critical for achieving high-quality printing. In other paint applications, that might be automotive or even as large as aircraft in aerospace. And then in areas like electronics, and possibly relevant to the social media side, we also provide evaporative cooling solutions that are used in data centers. So customers could be Microsoft, Amazon, or anybody that's working in the data centers side of the business.
Okay. And you mentioned Dry Steam is trying to begin exporting products to Russia. How's that going?
Yes, we were very fortunate fairly early on to receive an update from Minnesota Department of Economic Development and specifically an opportunity to participate in a program which looked to promote exports from the state to the Russian and former Soviet Union. From there, we were put in contact with the U.S. Department of Commerce, and we're currently in discussions and had meetings with the trade delegation based out of the Moscow Embassy, and we are actively seeking representation in the Russian marketplace.
How much of this has occurred virtually?
I would say 100%.
Wow.
There'd be no physical meetings at this point, and quite frankly, it is possible, I think, to go ahead and manage things virtually, although my understanding of Russian culture is it certainly will help to sit down and have a vodka.
Yeah, excellent. So what other challenges have you uncovered throughout this process?
I think really trying to identify the differences in the sales process in the Russian marketplace. There are differences between how things, let's say, are executed in North America to Europe, and some further differences to the Russian marketplace. And that's why we believe it's so critical to have a local, well-established partner in the Russian marketplace.
Yeah, I know Todd Lefko emphasized that in the export class. Can you speak to the potential financial rewards of doing business with Russia, and then maybe follow up with a comment more generally about the benefits of citizen diplomacy in the business context?
Certainly. So first of all, I think we should recognize that Russia still is developing in a sense, and of course, whilst it's not an underdeveloped economy, there certainly are areas of the economy that are expanding, and I'm not so sure I want to use the term westernizing, but we're seeing buildings being brought up to standards that we would be more familiar with here in the United States. The marketplace itself, if we consider Russia compared to other European countries, it would be the fifth largest market from the perspective of HVAC equipment. So it's certainly very attractive since it's in the top five. We do, of course, have to remember that Russia is a tremendously diverse country with, obviously many former states, and also, of course, a very large geographic diversity. That very large geography is one of the reasons why humidification is quite prevalent or is required, because we have a lot of more northerly located areas where, and as well as industry, where humidification can benefit the Russian people or the Russian businesses.
Did you say more northern regions?
Yes, exactly. So humidification, as you can well imagine, being in Minnesota, humidity levels drop in cold climates. So to maintain the healthy levels of humidity, which, by the way, we suggest is 40 to 60% relative humidity, we normally need to add humidification, certainly in the winter months. And if we think about Moscow, if we think about St. Petersburg, if we think about even into areas that are south, they definitely have requirements for humidification equipment.
Okay, interesting. And then could you touch on the citizen diplomacy aspect as well?
Yeah, I guess not having so far had any face-to-face meetings, I can't really talk about the outcomes of that, but in principle, the idea of working, for example, through the RABCC, having those folks that have contacts and also experience is obviously very beneficial. And, we're talking about citizen diplomacy. In fact, if I think of the word diplomacy, I mentioned discussions through the DOC and the Moscow embassy. Even having that in a structured or more structured governmental support obviously has value.
Yeah, absolutely. So just taking a step back, I'm curious, how did you get into this career path?
My background has always been in what we would call technical sales and management marketing. The time that I spent earlier, or I would say sort of the early part of my career, was focused on industrial automation, manufacturing, building systems, and so on. And humidification, although it's part of the HVAC market, is really a very niche product area or application area where a lot of the experiences working with consultants, contractors, large corporations all come into play. So I guess it's an area within the HVAC market that fits well with my previous background.
Okay, thanks. So I was going to ask you how culture fits into your business relationships with Russian parties, but since that's been entirely virtual, I don't know how relevant that is. Do you think eventually you'll take a trip to Russia?
Oh, sure, absolutely. So, I guess in my career, I've probably hit about 30 countries so far, and obviously having an understanding of culture, being able to, I would say, develop trust and develop a degree of common interests is very important. I think we mentioned that Todd Lefkoe was instrumental in providing a lot of information. Todd and I have a very similar interest in the Great Patriotic War, and in particular for me in the Napoleonic War. I think that having an understanding of history, having an understanding of culture and appreciation is a very, that cultural bridge, I think, is very important for establishing relationships. Along with, as I mentioned in joking, in passing, that the ability to have a vodka.
Yeah.
Certainly, I think that we should appreciate all cultures and also appreciate common history. That's one of the aspects of working in business internationally that I really do enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. So my last question for you, and it's really a series of questions. It's sort of like a speed round of Russian culture questions. So I'll just say, for instance, A or B, and then you would say whichever one you prefer. Just try to say whichever one you think is best off the top of your head. Okay, you ready?
Sure.
Okay. Pierogies or borscht?
Boy, I think Poland when I think pierogies, and Ukraine. And I can tell you that Winnipeg, Manitoba, where my folks live, not too far from Minnesota there, they got phenomenal pierogies. But I'd have to go with pierogies.
Okay. Vodka or kvass?
Vodka.
Tolstoy or Dostoevsky?
Tolstoy because of 1812.
Ah, that's right. Sit in the park or in a sauna?
For a business point of view, when I dealt with Volvo in Sweden, you had made it from a business perspective, relationship-wise, when you were invited to the sauna, got beaten with birch, and then had a vodka and jumped in the lake. So I think sauna would be most important from a business perspective.
That's the inner circle?
Yeah.
All right, and then the last one is mushroom hunting or hockey?
Love mushrooms, but coming from Canada, I've got to say hockey.
Yeah, I think so too. That one was really a test, I think. All right, well, thanks a lot, Duncan.
My pleasure. I'm really looking forward to our time working in Russia, or at least looking forward to the opportunity to do that. And certainly happy to provide some follow-up to you at a later point on our success, hopefully.
Okay, great. Best of luck.